You're locked into the Womanora Crush Wednesday podcast, the only weekly podcast inspiring, educating, motivating 1 million women entrepreneurs one Wednesday at a time. The WCW podcast is fueled by the Purpose Formula: passion plus purpose plus profit equals success. And here are your hosts, Jen and Modi.
Hey, we are in episode 34 of the WCW podcast, and as we continue our third season today, we have Saba Tekle. Saba is a publisher and a Huffington Post contributor, and an award-winning best-selling author. As the founder of the Seven Publishing, Saba has worked with over 100 authors nationwide and internationally. She is the creator, co-author, and publisher of the best-selling book series, 20 Beautiful Women. This compelling series of books inspired the 20 Beautiful Women Challenge, in which over a million women participated, and is now a big blog section in the Huffington Post. Since then, she has been featured in the Buzzfeed, HLN's The Daily Share, All Africa, the DL List magazine, and Afro Newspaper. Currently, she is publishing another volume of 20 Beautiful Women and mentoring women worldwide. Saba drops a few great gems on us, ladies. Take time, listen to it, let it, marinate. If you want, listen to it again. It's a very good episode. Let's get into this episode. Enjoy it. Enjoy it.
Hey, crushes. We are so happy to have Saba Tekle on our WCW show today, and we will be interviewing her. So, Saba, can you tell us your Womanora story? How did you get into entrepreneurship?
So, how did I get into entrepreneurship? Well, I look at what I do a little bit differently. I look at me being able to be of service to people full time. And when I actually started to look at it a little bit differently, it became easier to kind of become, if that makes sense, an actual entrepreneur. I think it's such a big word, and it makes you feel almost intimidated. So I look at, and then on top of it being such an intimidating and such a big word for me, I also felt it really didn't appeal to what I feel like it is that I do, right? I don't always look at, even though I am in business and I run my business as a business, I really like to look at it like I'm of service. And what that means to me is really just providing what it is that people need in a way that, in doing what I love, though. And I love what I do. So I kind of got into it, just loving what I do, seeing an opportunity to service people, especially in the areas of publishing, which what I do, and mentoring, which I also love doing. And then I also have, a book series called 20 Beautiful Women that helps women heal and find their passion, their purpose. 3 things that I really, I've learned are really important, in life.
Right.
Definitely.
So how did you start this journey, being a publisher and a best-selling author?
So the journey kind of started off with, first, of course, originally I wanted this, it was a goal of mine, right? And when working at a job I really, really hated, or I was growing to hate every day, right? Mm-hmm. So it really pushed me to kind of stop trying to put my goals on the back burner and really start to do something about it. So even though it was kind of a long journey, it kind of started off with just really hating what I was doing. And then when I wanted to get into being a published author, really, I co-authored my first book, which was kind of my way of kind of really getting into this industry and then understanding what this is about. And because I went from co-authoring a book, which was pretty simple other than paying, I learned how to publish my own book, which was kind of complicated. And then I knew I had something to share. I really kind of studied the industry and understood what it is that I could bring to the table of it, where I would fit, given all the stuff I had to learn, all of it. And why, like, my slogan is I simplify self-publishing, is because it can be really complicated. And complicated is still a strong word, but it can be really time consuming. Maybe that would be a better word.
Yeah.
And then you learn all this stuff, and then you publish the book, and then that's a whole nother experience. So
Right.
I just like to simplify the first part of it, which is just getting it, turning something that's kind of like almost non-existent, or not non-existent, non-physical, and turn it into a physical.
So you mentioned two things. Can you tell us, our listeners, what exactly is co-authoring? And then can you just kind of explain, there might be some crushes that we have listening that might want to go on this self-publishing journey. So can you just tell us what is co-authoring, and then can you explain more about the self-publishing process?
Yeah, of course. It's actually a really good question. So Matt Morris is like this #1 best-selling author. He had this opportunity to co-author one of his books, which happens to be a book series. And he gave this opportunity to me and several other people, and we paid for this opportunity. But what was valuable of it was that it kept me from taking the time, several years to write something and be published in it, right? Mm-hmm. And allowed me to just add a chapter in a book with all these amazing people that kind of gave me both kind of credibility and instant credibility and instant, gratification of being published. So it was great. And also the book was a bestseller, and he knew it would be, so he promoted it that way. And it's the same thing with my book series, 20 Beautiful Women. Of course, I learned from co-authoring my first book what I wanted to offer and the ways that I wanted to offer it. So while it may be a co-authored opportunity, I specifically target a certain market. I specifically want to help women heal. I specifically just turn things around and where applied to the things that I wanted to bring to this world. And then I also wanted to share and have other women also that wants to bring, their voice and want to share their story. So I came up with my own concept that allows other women to come and co-author a book. So all you would have to do is provide a chapter. So a lot of people are relieved, and some of my authors actually have authored their own book, and they just want to spread their message more, connect with another community of women. So you get different things out of it, and there's several people that offer this opportunity. You just got to do your research and see what's out there. But to answer your second question about self-publishing, well, the process can be very simple. I don't know how much time you'd want me to spend on this, but it really just starts with, of course, writing your book, and it really depends on what you want to do with it. Some people really just want to write and they just want to be published. There's nothing wrong with that, but there's the people that eventually want to be traditionally published, that's when you really have to look at it as a business. And if you look at what your book is as your business, and you really take your time with, what you do in the beginning when creating your content, and studying your market and seeing what's out in the bookstores, seeing where you fit in this industry. And then talking to a mentor, and then having some guidance, maybe even a ghostwriter, or maybe, not just a ghostwriter, but just someone that would look at your work and say, hey, here's some areas you can grow in. Sometimes you have to do that yourself, and that's typically what a traditional publishing company would do for you. Mm-hmm. But you would have to do it yourself if you're self-published. Now, do you write your book before you go to a traditional publisher? No, you would pitch your traditional publisher, and they would express their interest, and they'd pay you to do the rest. But if you're planning to self-publish, you want to take it on as if you're a traditional publishing company, and that you want to spend the time, to really, really create the content. So the next step would be, after kind of really understanding what your content is finding the perfect editor and proofreader. Now, I say perfect because you kind of have to break an editor in, and you really want to be part of that process too. So after editing, you'd want to review your book, and after proofreading, you would want to review your book. Mm-hmm. And then when you're completely satisfied and it's about as flawless as it can get, although no book is perfect, just as flawless, we're all human, but as editor, proofreader, everyone's human, so you just really got to get it to the best of its ability. And then you really want to shop around for finding, again, it depending if you go with a self-publishing company or if you plan to do it yourself, you want to find the best cover designer. And again, you want to study the industry. What are people doing? There's a formula really out there. You'll kind of see it. I actually share this in a blog a Huffington Post blog that you definitely should read. I can definitely, offer that. It's already online. You just have to Google it, or I'll give you guys the link. But
yeah, we'll be able to put the link in our email newsletter for our listeners. So
good, because they'll love it. Because it goes over what you should do as far as for your cover. So once you kind of get through your cover and you have your full layout, you have your book description that you should also spend a lot more time with. Your book description is very, very important. Understanding your keywords and what categories your book fits in. Once you're clear on who your message is for and who's it for, where does this fit in this industry, things start to kind of flow a little bit easier as far as how people can find you, or how you can actually speak to the right people for them to even be listening, So after you do that, I think I'm at, okay, so then you get into the actual publishing part, and you can use CreateSpace. They offer these services to a la carte at all the companies online. I definitely love CreateSpace. I don't use them because, of course, I offer the services, but I still think that they're a great company to pick up some of those services of interior design, which is the next step also. You should definitely have your book, either you do it, hire someone to do it, or really know what it is that you want, and use CreateSpace or myself or whomever that you trust to design the interior design of your book for both print and your digital. And then that's it. You publish your book and you proof it. So you proof it for the print. You want to proof your book in print. Definitely different feel, definitely catch different things. But that's it. And then you release it to the world.
That's good.
You made it sound so easy.
I know it's a lot.
That is some good information.
So it was a lot, but yeah.
So, you've already kind of told us like what inspired you to start the 20 Beautiful Women Challenge. Can you tell us how instrumental the 20 Beautiful Women Challenge has been in the future? I mean, in the female entrepreneurship, the realm.
So I didn't create it. That's the weird. That's kind of like the weird part. I take credit for inspiring it because, for one, not only was no one using the hashtag prior to, maybe a few other people because I checked. Someone reached out to me, and it was from, and this is the benefit, I guess, from it, is that someone from H&L, from the H&L Daily Share. It's a blog, and they have the TV network. Anyways, they reached out, and she actually told me that she felt as if it came from me, and I just say that I inspired it, and that's be the best way. Now, did that help or not help? I can't say that. I can't say that because I think my target market and some of the women that participated, even though a million were in college, so I don't know if they really took to the message. I don't feel like there was a great increase in book sales, but I will say this: what I care about most is that it started a conversation, and it was about uplifting women. And not only did it go from just the 20 Beautiful Women Challenge, they're talking about 20 books. Like, they're adding that in the 20 Beautiful Women Challenge, which was also, I feel like, inspired it. What else would have, right? So it's beautiful what's happening, and I just love that we're a part of that, right? So we inspired it, and women are reading, and they're sharing books, and they're inspiring, and they're lifting each other, and it's all those things that 20 Beautiful Women, the book, is about. So I just love it. And I feel like that's the benefit. It's just inspiring something that's bringing women together.
Awesome.
Definitely. You mentioned that you've been published in Huffington Post and Buzzfeed. Could you tell us a little bit about like how you got hooked up with Huffington Post? Did you contact them or did they contact you? And then like how would someone get their work featured in either of these major news outlets or blog outlets?
That's a good question. So for one, Huffington Post is also a goal of mine. And I think it's very important to have that goal and just really, really focus on it because it was definitely focused. It was definitely a goal. I reached out to when it was featured as our book being featured in there before I wrote from them. I actually reached out to a blogger. It's not a really easy thing to do, but we already had established a relationship and he offered to do it. But I intended to have that relationship with him because I wanted to blog for them. Him offering to do it as a feature was just a bonus and it was just so exciting. So it just kind of happened that way, you know? And I was really grateful. And that's what happens usually organically. The bloggers will reach out. usually what happens. But on the flip note, if you want to be a blogger, it took me about a year, even though I had, again, someone in the industry, as a blogger who was pretty influential. It was not that easy for me to get in. It took me about a year. And then when I got in, the door closed on me. It was closed just as quick. And probably because of what I submitted. Anyways, it took some strings to be pulled when I finally actually got the acceptance. And, it just, again, it was intent. It was a goal. And I wasn't going to take no for an answer. And that's how I eventually got my own blog. And there was a short window, because I have a blog now also for my 20 Beautiful Women authors. And there was a short window where they're actually letting almost anyone blog. And if you knew someone, you could have got one, but now it shut down. So I believe the original way is to just reach out to a specific section and apply and be persistent. Persistent is everything. Now with BuzzFeed, I started Googling 20 Beautiful Women, and it's the same thing kind of how I found out about the challenge at first, even though I didn't know much what was going on. I just seen a whole bunch of pictures, but I try to pay attention to what's going on, and then something come to my attention, like when Colleen Barron reached out for me from H&L. But what was crazy is about BuzzFeed is that no one told me. I just happened to Google 20 Beautiful Women, and it popped up, and I was like, oh wow, someone just featured the book on the site, and that just happened again organically, and that's what can happen, just spontaneously. Someone will just feature you, just like kind of how you just reached out to me.
Right.
It just sometimes happens. It just happens.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a goal, though. I intend these things, and I have a goal, and I have to say that specifically. Oprah talks about intention, right? Everyone talks about goals. Those things are really important if you want to get anywhere in life. It's just like it puts out a radar, so somehow you end up on their radar of the people that you want to get in touch with that are going to put you, in alignment with your dreams.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, we definitely believe that. We are big supporters of goals. We've done a goal setting session earlier this year on Facebook Live, so we are all about goal setting and having those intentions.
Thank you for those gems.
And add
really
gratitude. I think gratitude's been, to be honest with you, I feel like that changed absolutely everything.
Yes, ma'am.
When I added gratitude to my daily practice, I feel like it amplifies and, you just vibrate higher. And I feel like when you start to vibrate higher, you catch on higher frequency things. Yes. I just had to throw that out there because I think it's important.
Thank you.
Sometimes we always plan for things and it doesn't end up the way we want to. But I feel like gratitude changed that for me. I can't help to share that with you.
Gems. Thank you. Thank you for dropping those gems. So what drives you daily? What keeps you creatively inspired in your business? What you do every day?
That's a good question, too. Sometimes it's just having a vision that of something of contributing to humanity in a big way, right? So there's a vision or there's a feeling that I have that I just want to contribute. We see what's going on in this world, and we all can point out what's wrong, but what are we doing about it, right? And in our own way. What are we doing about it in our own way, in the only way that we can, that we feel passionate about? So passion and seeing in the areas that I can assist and help people, because the majority of the books I publish, I feel like help humanity. They're all spirituality and mostly self-help books. So I don't know. I just feel like in a small way, I contribute. And the same thing with 20 Beautiful Women, which is a different conversation because that definitely contributes in a major way. This book is really healing and touching the lives of women, and not just the women who read it, my authors. It's a beautiful process of going through the healing all over again and writing your chapter. And then on the other end of sharing it with the people around you, it just amplifies that healing in their own lives and then also in each other. And I feel like that is what changes the world.
Thank you. So you're definitely someone who's inspired by other people's creativity and other people's finding their passion, I would say.
I, of course, am inspired by what people do. It's always different, though, for everything. It's always different. But, yeah, most definitely. Whenever I see someone doing something, it makes me believe that I can, too.
Yes.
It's hard. Mm-hmm. That's the hard part that gets people from just walking and crawling to running to what they want to do. It's like, if you really believe, when I see people actually making or creating or doing something beautiful or inspiring. It makes me believe in myself. So yeah.
Yes.
Definitely agree. We need to follow each other on Instagram because we probably post a lot of the same inspiring things. But we have a mantra on the show, and you kind of answered some of these, but not in a one sentence type of thing. But so we asked everybody this, so we're going to ask you. It's called the purpose formula. So purpose, passion, profit equals success. So could you tell us what you think your purpose formula is?
My purpose formula? You got to give me an example.
So
don't answer that question.
What do you think has gotten you to understanding your purpose pretty much? And that can be a combination of your passion and how you turn that passion into profit, and then like your successes. So how do you think you can define that?
So everything I engage that I feel is my purpose always came from my pain. You know, my pain of publishing, you know, my pains of feeling disconnected from other people, and why I find what 20 Beautiful Women does is connect with people. So every area I feel like I've hurt in, I found my purpose in. So that's my formula. I think that answers your question.
It does.
Okay.
There's no right or wrong. It's just up to you.
Okay.
Like it relates to you.
Simple. So, your top 3 things that you would impart on someone if they were to follow your footsteps.
Sorry, repeat that question.
Do you have, top 3 things? What are your top 3 things that you would impart on someone if they were to follow your footsteps?
3 things so they can follow my footsteps.
If they were interested in following your footsteps, if they wanted to become publishers or an author.
3. The first thing would be to develop a mindset. I think that's even more important than you even begin to educate yourself, because it's especially if you want to be an entrepreneur or you want to be of service full time, as I would put it. You kind of have this kind of like, I'm going to make it no matter what, or this, it doesn't really matter because what I'm doing is bigger than me, and I'm going to commit to, bringing whatever my vision is to this world. So having the right mindset, especially given the challenges you're going to deal with people, and the people that will try you, and people that are not going to believe in you, whatever else, you really got to have a really strong mindset to move forward. So that would be the first thing. Second thing, of course, is to educate yourself, especially fully in any industry you plan to go in, or if you say that they want to take my footsteps, well, then I would educate in publishing, understanding your market, going into bookstores, really believing, really understanding everything fully that you could teach it, and loving it, just loving what it is that you're trying to do and bring to the world. You got to love it. And I guess I would kind of roll into my third thing, is just really loving what you do and loving the people that you work with and really being of service. I think that's important.
Yes, very.
Definitely agree. What's next for you, Saba? And we know that you have an upcoming TED Talk as well. So could you talk about things that are coming on the horizon, and then your TED Talk, if you can?
So the TED Talk is, I'm not sure. I'm still even creating the content for that. But what's up for me is the documentary. I'm working actually on a documentary called the Global Conversation About Beauty. And it is kind of like a continuation and in addition to what 20 Beautiful Women is about. And we're continuing this conversation and making this a global conversation because that's what it is. It is important that we have this conversation. We all heal, especially us as women. I'm not saying we all can heal, but we start that conversation of healing and giving tools to how people can heal. So we can be better. We can do things differently in 2018, 2019, and 2020. We see where we're at right now, right? I don't think we're all happy with what's going on. I know I'm not. and especially with Trump and whatever else. But I know that the content of the basis of it, we already created a video for someone to watch, and I'll also provide that link. But that's what's next is the documentary.
Okay. When is that going to be coming out, or when can we expect?
We're still creating the content, and we're actually we're inviting people to contribute to the content. So that's where we're at right now. We have an event in February that's also we're gonna be doing some work recording that's gonna both go into the trailer and in actually it may possibly be in the actual documentary. So we're just creating the content and we're doing it with everyone.
That's awesome.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Is it for women?
Well,
women only?
Seeing that.
Is it for women only?
I'm sorry? There's going to be men in there because we need the male perspective, and I don't think we get that enough. There's a lot of illusions of what we think men think. So, of course, men will be in it, and men can always participate. And men will also be in the event in February that you guys are welcome to come to. And hopefully, you do come because you'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, please send us all the information. We can also post on our outlets as well.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
So where can you be reached? And can you give our crushes your handles?
Yeah, I can always be reached at info@7-publishing.com. And my handle is twitter.com/Saba Tekle, SABATEKLE. Instagram is Saba_Tekle. Facebook is Saba Tekle and the number 7. And at any time, if anyone needs extra guidance or they have more questions, they can reach out.
Thank you, Saba, for this interview. You dropped so many gems on becoming a self-published author and what someone would need to do if they are interested in doing that. And we really appreciate your time and your gems.
Thank you.
Oh, I appreciate you guys for just reaching out. And, of course, I love being of service, so it's my pleasure.
Hey, crushes. WCW Podcast is a weekly women in business show that takes a lot of effort. There's writing, recording, post-production, editing, and a myriad of little annoyances. We want to keep releasing business episodes every week, but we need a little help. If everyone who listened to our show just gave $1 an episode, we would be able to put out an episode every week and more elaborate female entrepreneurs' stories a month, at least once a month. If you'd be so kind to go to patreon.com and plug in Womanore Crush Wednesday podcast, you would find us there and you would be able to donate to us once a month, 4 times a month, every episode. Either way, it helps our podcast move on and thrive. We thank you very much in advance.
Thanks for tuning in to the Womanore Crush Wednesday podcast. Be sure to tune in next week for Girl Talk with Jen and Modi, along with some of your favorite business crushes, more exclusive business tips, insights, creative business ideas, and doable action steps to improve your business and help you create your phenomenal life. Sharing is caring. Don't forget to tell a friend to subscribe and stay tuned for a weekly dose of the WCW podcast. Crushing hard on the Womanore and want to hear her story on the show? Know a creative woman-owned business that's killing it? Let us know at WomanoreCrushWednesday@gmail.com.